So, and both coaches, their first time leading a
Yeah,
team into the Super Bowl.
I think Mac McDonald, again, an amazing story. Was a graduate assistant at Georgia, longtime assistant for the Ravens. Their defensive coordinator helps them get deep in the playoffs a couple years ago, turns around the Seahawks. But Mike Vrabel, I think what's most important about him is that the Tennessee Titans, of all franchises, didn't want him anymore, pushed him out. And then in his first year with the Patriots, he takes them to the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, the Titans haven't made the playoffs in 4 years.
Theme here, theme emerging. If you want to win a Super Bowl, get kicked to the curb by somebody else, come back and make the thing happen. Okay, so what are you looking forward to on February 8th, other than Bad Bunny, which we all are?
It's number one defense versus top five offense on both sides. This is two top five offenses and defense going against each other. But the Seahawks, I think, have the advantage here. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who led the league in receiving. Last night, he had 155 yards. Somehow, he's just always open. I've seen way too many mistakes from the Patriots.
Okay.
Six fumbles by Drake May in the first two rounds.
Okay.
He's just green. Very green.
All right,
Second
looking
year
forward
player,
to
so
it.
I've got
Martenzie
this.
Johnson with ESPN's Andscape. And this is NPR News.
WNYC and its local and national news coverage are supported by the Jerome L. Green Foundation, helping to make the arts affordable and accessible to all New Yorkers for more than 40 years.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm Celia Hatton. On today's NewsHour, as protests continue, will Donald Trump withdraw immigration agents from Minneapolis? A top general in China is purged and reportedly accused of leaking nuclear secrets. And why global conflicts are boosting air travel costs. That's BBC NewsHour coming up at 9 on WNYC.
Businesses caught in the immigration crackdown.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Fidelity. A dedicated advisor can help create a comprehensive wealth plan. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. And by Revenued, providing working capital for businesses' cash flow needs. Approvals based on revenue, not credit, and funds available in a day at getrevenued.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. Following deadly shootings by immigration agents in Minnesota, more than 60 CEOs there have now signed and sent a letter calling for federal, state, and local officials to de-escalate. This is a turnabout. Last week we had discussed here so many Minnesota business leaders generally staying quiet amid the situation. Among the CEOs who put their names on this letter, William Brown of 3M, Corey Barry of Best Buy, General Mills' Jeff Harmening, and Target's incoming chief executive, Michael Fidelki. Advocates for stricter border enforcement argue the policies over time could mean better jobs for legal workers, but in Minnesota, some businesses have closed or reduced hours, with employees and customers concerned about getting caught in raids and protests. Kirsty Marone is a correspondent with Minnesota Public Radio, same company as us. She's been reporting from St. Cloud, population 70,000, a city that includes a large Somali American population. Hi, Kirsty.
Hi, David. Thanks for having me.
You've been going into businesses facing immigration searches and detentions. What are you hearing?
The owners I spoke to say they're struggling with two problems. First, businesses that cater to immigrants are seeing fewer customers. People are scared to leave their homes and venture out for fear of being stopped and detained by ICE. I stopped in at New York Gyro, a popular restaurant in St. Cloud. Usually at lunchtime, it's full of hungry customers craving its halal pita sandwiches and kebabs. But last week,
as you can see, very slow, very slow, especially for the last couple of weeks.
That's co-owner Hasib Azam. He told me that the recent ICE activity in St. Cloud is scaring people away.
We have a lot of mixed customers, like Mexican, Somali, and white. But right now, most of them, the white customer, they come, but not Somalis, no Mexican, nothing.
And the other issue for businesses is that some employees are afraid to come to work, even if they are in the U.S. legally. Azam says he and his co-owners are working 12 to 13-hour days just to keep the restaurant going.
13-hour days. Is that sustainable? I mean, not every business could pull those hours off longer term.
That's right. In fact, some have already temporarily closed their doors or reduced hours due to staffing shortages or out of concern for their employees. Restaurants are doing more takeout and delivery orders as fewer customers want to linger for long periods in public places. I visited Star City Mall in St. Cloud. It's a strip mall with several Somali-owned businesses. There's a clinic, a pharmacy, grocery store, several cafes. Dozens of ICE agents clashed with protesters in the mall's parking lot last week. And a few days later, it was noticeably quieter than usual. I met Abde Desani there. He's a Somali-American business owner and also a Democratic candidate for the Minnesota legislature.
I was talking to some of the business people here, and they already see the impact. They see less people showing up to just hang out there, maybe more pickup than sitting down and enjoying their meal or even just socializing with people.
And we're also seeing some businesses adapting the way they operate. So at one restaurant in Minneapolis, the blinds are now drawn and the front door is locked, and a volunteer sits inside to open it for customers.
Minnesota Public Radio reporter Kirsty Marone in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, David.
Now to nervous investors pushing gold to a record high today. Marketplace's Nova Safo has more.
Prices for precious metals, especially gold, are up because demand is up. Last year, gold prices rose 64%, the most since 1979. Central banks are buying gold, as are traders looking to diversify away from the U.S. dollar, which has weakened against other currencies. Part of this has to do with the Federal Reserve's interest rate cuts. It also has to do with the higher tariffs imposed by the Trump administration and global uncertainty around trade policies. The VIX Volatility Index, Wall Street's fear gauge, is up 17% just this month. It peaked last week as President Trump was ratcheting up threats over a new trade war with European countries over his desire to acquire Greenland. He backed off those threats, and the VIX fell. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
The U.S. Treasury reportedly asked for data that in a way hints it might prop up the sliding Japanese currency. Now, a low yen makes it harder for Japanese investors to buy U.S. government debt, meaning the yen is very much connected to interest rates that Americans pay. Stocks S&P futures are down less than 0.1%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Progressive Insurance. Progressive is currently looking for individuals in a variety of career fields who are interested in building a career and joining an inclusive and unique culture. More information, including application, at progressive.com/careers. And by GEP. With GEP Key Agentic AI and GEP Smart Software, GEP is at the forefront in agentic procurement orchestration and autonomous supply chains.
After a weekend where the weather forced many people to do their own skating and sliding, let's turn to the business of the Winter Olympics, which begin February 6th in northern Italy. Here's Marketplace's Kimberly Adams.
NBC Universal, which has the rights to air the Olympic and Paralympic Games in the U.S., says it sold out all its advertising slots by early January, setting what the company calls a new ad sales record. Beth Mahalik teaches corporate communications at Penn State Lehigh Valley.
Audiences are really drawn to the allure, to the pageantry, to the stories of triumph and tragedy of the Olympic Games, and brands recognize that.
But in terms of economic impact for Olympic host cities, it can be hit or miss. Michael Clark directs the Center for Business and Economic Research at the University of Kentucky.
When researchers have looked at this, they generally tend to see that the cost associated with hosting the Olympics tends to be considerably higher than the benefits that the cities receive.
Early estimates say the Milan Cortina Games will yield more than $6 billion in economic impact. Kiki Kaplanidou runs the Department of Sports Management at the University of Florida.
They are expecting to make a little bit more money than they spend, but not much more compared to if you look at all the expenditure and what goes into building facilities and all that stuff.
The Winter Olympics will run from February 6th to the 22nd, and the Paralympic Winter Games are starting up March 6th. In Washington, I'm Kimberly Adams for Marketplace.
This is the Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.